again, give it up for 21 Pilots. So we wanted to theme it. 21 Pilots for the 21st of June, 21 claps. Let's get into it. Thank you guys very much for taking time before the show to do this, because you've got some super fans right here. My name is Teresa, you know that, from 94.5 The Buzz. So are you guys ready to get into these questions? Clara Casey.
Settle down, guys. Here.
Clara, I'm going to come around this way. Clara Casey has the first question, and they're very nervous, by the way, so I've been sitting here, you know, giving them some good therapy. What's your question?
At what age did you decide to make music your life?
Have you decided yet?
Yeah, no. Probably 32.
Wait, how old are you? Josh's mic's not working that well.
Maybe it's...
There it is.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I guess everyone just assumes that you're going to do all the time.
All the time.
Which
That mic's just a prop.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't for the rest of my life. I think I always, for a while, maybe since I was 15 or 16, I knew that music was going to be important to me, but I kind of feel like everyone feels that way to an extent. But as far as being my life, I mean, we were already in a band before we knew it was going to be our life.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a specific day where I called him and I told him that, hey, we can quit our jobs now.
Yeah,
that was a big day.
That was when this became like our sole way of making money. That was a big deal for us. I think that before that we had both been pretty obsessed with music though, and kind of performing and creating it, and so I guess it could have been before that, but yeah, we were probably like 22. And that happened when we quit our jobs to go on the old road.
The old road.
Did it feel good to pay your bills off at 22 and have no debt? To take all that money?
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. All right, next.
You didn't really have much debt, did you? You didn't go to...
I didn't go to school or anything, so
You didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Next question is Karen Gaskell's, but her daughter Kayla is going to ask it. Are you ready, Kayla? Stand up. Go ahead, stand up.
Come on.
Own this moment. Own this moment.
You got it.
When you're not on tour making music, what is your favorite pastime?
It's a good question.
yeah.
I don't remember.
I was just gonna say sitting.
Just sitting.
Just sitting.
Pass the time.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. Being at your own place can be nice. I mean, I remember when we were really starting to be on the road a whole lot. It was a weird thing, and then I would get home and I wouldn't really do much, and I felt kind of weird or bad about that. And then a friend was like, "Well, you're kind of just spending all of your weekends at once." So we would have like a couple weeks off or a month or something, and it was it's like when we're on the road, we're just saving up our weekends for when we get home, and then we can just watch cartoons for 3 weeks straight, like what you would do on a Saturday morning when you get to work.
So I guess Josh watches cartoons first last time. Man, it's beautiful out. It reminds me that I do enjoy being outside in the sun. When you're from Ohio, like we are, there's very specific months that you can enjoy being outside. And so if my free time falls inside of that time, I usually like to try to get outside at some point.
All right, next question. Loren Branson. All right, Loren, don't be nervous. We've all talked about this. What's your question?
I enjoyed your movie math cooperation. Y'all plan to do anything else like that, or with anybody else?
Oh, no, no plans so far, but we did enjoy. We got into a studio and got some video equipment and just let them have at our songs with us, and it was a lot of fun. It turned out to be one of our favorite projects. Probably one of the only videos that I watched of ours on YouTube more than once, where I'll go back and be like, oh, I remember that. But yeah, I love watching that. So if I show someone, you know how YouTube learns everything about you, right? And then you want to show someone something either on your laptop or on your phone on YouTube. They see kind of like all your suggested things and immediately judge you. And I'm usually not too embarrassed by it. It's usually like some video game thing or some guy learning how to build a hut out of mud, which is actually kind of cool. And then there's that one video, it's like, hey Tyler, do you want to watch yourself again? I always try to scroll past that one as quickly as I can.
All right, let's go to the next question. Ismail, are you ready for your question?
Yeah.
All right.
First, hi guys.
What's up?
What was the runner-up name for your band?
Runner-up. I don't think there was an immediate runner-up, but there were some other ideas that were... I found that any idea that I had... I was living at home with my parents when I was kicking around the idea of starting a band, which most people thinking about starting a band are usually living with their parents. And so every idea that I had, the only like people to run it by were my parents. And I don't know if that's a great litmus test for a band name. You know, because everything I came up with, my dad just made fun of purely. And I think that 21 Pilots, when I said that, it was so confusing to him that he didn't have something to make fun of right away. And I was like, there's something to that. My dad couldn't make fun of it, so we went with that one. I don't remember too many of the other. I think I don't know. I feel silly even saying them.
That's a good cliffhanger. We're gonna move on after that. Ariana Conway, what's your question?
What would be on the gag reels of your life?
The guardrails?
The gag reel.
Gag reels.
What would be on the gag reel of your
I was
life?
about to say, the guardrails of your life, that's pretty deep, too.
Not enough time for that one.
Yeah, the guardrails,
Yeah.
that would be a long session. Gag reels.
Like funny moments.
Yeah. No, like moments where you kind of choke on a burrito.
If something smells very foul. Probably any time that we've spent in the van on the way to shows.
Yeah, a lot of time in the van talking about stuff.
Yeah. Or like compilation videos of us falling on stage.
We've talked about this before, but Josh has a pretty great track record of funny drumstick tosses into the crowd.
Yeah.
Things happen all the time when he does that. I think in the Pat's Home, when we first started playing.
Yeah, when we first started playing, I don't know why I like decided I just get rid of a stick halfway through a show. But it's kind of
You're a rock star. You're a rock star.
You see those classic drummers just tossing on a drumstick, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, we would try it. But there's like less people in a room than there are here. And so most of the time, and it's also in order to throw it sort of on the safer side, you kind of got to toss it like that. You can't really just like throw it like that. Might poke somebody's eye out, which I guess still could, but the way in which I throw it, I still have not gotten very good at it.
I would like to point out when we were a much smaller band playing for even less people than this, you'd throw it out and it meant that much more because both of our heads were like $3.50.
Yeah, we gotta
Go
go to
back
Guitar
more.
Center after this. But it would just clink on the ground most of the time, and then it would just like land at somebody's foot, and they'd be like, oh,
They kick it back to you.
Yeah. And there's been times where it's, there's like a lighting truss up above or something, and I'll kind of like throw it up and it'll like hit against that and just come right back.
Come back on stage.
That has happened before. And then, the first time that we were like playing in arenas, we were opening up for a band, and our parents were at a show, and we were finally in front of enough people to like legitimately throw out a stick and feel sort of cool. And I threw it, and it still landed on the ground. It rolled right up to my dad. So he just picked it up and was like, "Here you go." Someone.
Like, not cool at all.
It wasn't cool. So I didn't really realize it until afterwards, and he told me the story, and I was just like, I'm never gonna get this right. But,
Are you gonna throw a stick tonight? Because now everyone's gonna be wanting you to throw one of your sticks.
Yeah.
well, now I'm really self-conscious about
Now
it.
you have to. Now you have to. All right, let's go on to the next question. Because Anthony Roberts has a question, but his son, Littlefoot Longneck Pigeon Toe, is going to ask it.
Of your music, what is your favorite song?
See, with a name like that, I expected a better question.
Right?
Is it your last name Toe?
All that is
his, not mine.
just not yours. Out of all of our songs, what's our favorite song? What's yours? Yes, isn't that hard?
I like Jumpsuit.
Okay, cool. Me too. What was the full name again?
Littlefoot, long neck, pigeon toe.
Littlefoot Longneck Pigeon Toe.
Is that a family name? Cool.
Junior.
Our favorite song, it changes all the time. I always like to point out that when we think of our songs, we think of the live version of it because we're playing it live every day. And so a lot of people, when they think of our songs, they think of what they listen to, whether it's on CD or streamed or whatever, which is the same for anyone that we're fans of. We usually think of the song that we've taken with us somewhere, whether it's in the car or in our bedroom, or it becomes kind of a part of our story. And then if you happen to come to a show, you get to see that version of it live, which is different than everything else you've experienced. But for us, that is the only version of it we've ever experienced, is the live version, other than recording it. So really the question is, which song do we like to play live? And that one changes a lot. Jumpsuit is one of them. And then I guess we both kind of agree on a song called My Blood, which is, there's some technical moves in there for us as musicians that we enjoy trying to get better at, and so that's a fun one for us too.
All right, next question. Edward Wells. I'm coming, Edward.
Alright.
All right, what's your question?
What part of the music production is your favorite? Tracking vocals, instruments, etc.
You talking about specifically like when you're recording the record? Like,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Yeah, my relationship with recording vocals it's very complex, but something I'm always learning about. You think back to, my first idea that I had on the piano. I play it, figure it out. Oh my gosh, that's mine. How do I capture it? How do I make sure it doesn't get away? Because I will forget it. And I was like, I don't know. And this is before your phone had the voice memo app on it, which is clutch now. But I think I went to some, I don't know, like drugstore or CVS or something, got some really cheap voice recorder. You ever seen like those old movies that maybe a newspaper reporter's like asks you a question, he sticks this little thing in your face, and you being the lead character of this movie, obviously. And I got one of those, and so I could I learned that if I hit record on that, and I played what I wrote, and hit stop, I could listen back to it, I could always remember it. So I had this little recorder for a while. Then I'm thinking, okay, well I'm obviously not gonna plug this into a stereo and show someone my song. How do I get that to sound better? And then began my endless pursuit of gear and equipment to get my voice and the piano and the idea to sound like what's in my head. And it's an endless pursuit all the way up through getting a laptop and understanding how an interface works, and then plugging the microphone into the interface, and what is the interface doing when it converts that audio into something digital the computer can understand, and then all those aspects. And then you chase this perfection to try to get the vocal to sound right. I'm just using the vocal as an example. But then you realize that the ultimate perfection is giving it up to a producer in a professional studio to record your vocal for you, because they have millions of dollars worth of gear in that room to do so. And we've gone all the way down that route, and I look back and I realize that the moment that I'm writing a lyric, to be able to capture that moment and have that be what's recorded on the record and live forever, is more important than that vocal being perfect. And so, it just goes to show how complex the relationship is with recording a vocal for me. I've then realized, okay, it's not so much about the gear, it's not so much about getting that vocal to sound perfect, it's more about capturing the emotion and what I'm trying to say in that moment any way that I can. And it's my job to just get better and better at it, rather than looking for someone to help me get it right. And then kind of this last record we just released, I produced it, and it was a big leap without having another producer kind of overseeing all of, making sure that everything sounded right. And it was scary to do so, but I think that it was a step in the right direction to make sure that we were in total control of what we wanted the record to sound like. So,
I'd say probably the drums for me.
All right, Brandon Webb. Brandon Webb. Hold on, get your time on the microphone. Come on now, baby, we gotta do this the right way.
I have a certain smell that I identify with my childhood, and I can relate. Did you ever find where your smell came from?
That's a good question. And that sounds kind of weird maybe to someone who doesn't know, but in several lyrics of my songs I talk about like a smell can just snap you back to like a moment. My brother was actually visiting my grandparents' house in New Jersey a couple days ago, and he happened to just be passing through to get to somewhere. I don't know why he was there, but he sends me photos. Do you remember this stuffed animal? Do you remember this chair? Do you remember that, like, something about my grandparents' house that we would go to maybe once a year for Christmas? He's taken a photo of the basement that our whole family would live in whenever we were there for holidays. And he goes, "Can you smell this photo?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I can." And I don't know how to describe it for you, but it's hard to describe, right? But there's just that smell of that basement Christmas time at my mom's parents, so my grandparents on my mom's side. And it's just, that's one of the things that happened just recently that reminds me. I don't know, do you have a smell?
For some reason, when I'm like thinking about my childhood, it's like the fake root beer scent. It's not like actual root beer, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like I don't really know what it's called, but I think I had a toy that like smelled like that or something, and that's my stuff.
Like root beer and candy cigarettes. So Josh's childhood was filled with fake beer and fake cigarettes.
Just trying to grow up.
All right, next question is for Sheila Hutchins, who's horrifically nervous. Sheila, I'm gonna make you stand up. She didn't want to ask the question, and I said, "You're gonna regret this if you don't take on the moment." So are you ready?
Okay. I don't do public speaking, sorry. What would a world populated by clones of you two be like?
That's a good one.
Probably pretty sweet. Or horrible.
Sheila, was it? Here's a question for you. How many people would need to leave until it no longer becomes public speaking and we're just talking to each other?
Everyone but my daughter?
Really?
I don't, yeah.
So you can't, like, just 3 people?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean.
Okay, 4?
It's just.
See, we're moving.
Staring at me.
Yeah, but now that we're actually having a conversation, isn't it a little easier now?
I was the same way for a really long time. Yeah. I hated it, and I couldn't do it in school because it was crippling. So I feel it. I don't think you've ever really struggled with that.
No, I think everyone, in a sense, struggles with that. There's a part of me that would rather play a show in front of 10,000 people than talk in front of you guys right now. But at the same time, I'd much rather have a microphone and be talking the whole time rather than sitting there waiting for my one question to say to a microphone. That's way worse. So,
Yes.
Feel better now?
I do.
All right, last question is for Brad Eller. Brad, stand up. He's the class clown of the whole day today.
Hi.
Hi.
Greatest day in my son's life, so I appreciate you taking the time. Question. How much has your faith and religion influenced the lyrics of your songs?
it's a good one. I think that we're so formed by the way that we were raised. Obviously, you're raising your son right now, and whether you like it or not, everything you're doing, he's, kind of taking a piece of. And it's not until I get older do I notice more and more how much we take from where we're from and how we were raised. I mean, I could feel it. Even the way I'm leaning on this table is the way that my dad would do it. He'd put his arm like this, and he'd probably hold the mic like this. Every day I feel it. And Josh and I talk about it all the time, that our dads, whether they meant to or not, they gave us so many things that whether we wanted them or not, we got. I guess that just kind of starts the conversation about religion and faith. And, both of my parents didn't grow up in a religious household at all. And they kind of came and accepted Christianity when they were around their college age, and that really changed their lives. And so when they got married and they wanted to raise a family, they committed to raising kids in a household that had those beliefs and those values. And so, as someone who was raised in a kind of a faith-based, I guess it's a weird phrase, but we went to church, read the Bible. That was just a part of growing up. I mean, that was as essential as cereal in the morning. I didn't know that it was different than the fact that, our family, we get together with this side of our family for this holiday. There's certain aspects of growing up that you think that everyone does. Until you get old enough, you look around and go, not everyone does it that way. And so as I got older, some of those questions about, wait, what do I believe? What's my faith in? What religion do I associate with? And realizing that I had a decision, I still have a decision, just like my parents did when they decided that they were going to raise us this way. And when I realized that decision was mine to make, it was kind of all happening at the same time that I, moving out of my parents' house and trying to go to college, and what do you want to be with your, do with your life, and what's your purpose, and this music thing is something I'm drawn to. And so inside of me wrestling with a lot of the things that I think all of us wrestle with at a certain point in our life, as we leave our family, leave our parents and move out and become our own person, I was also writing music for the first time. So you kind of got to watch me become who I was inside of some of these lyrics. And yes, a lot of those lyrics had to do with the way I was raised in my faith, and my parents' faith, and what we believe in Christianity and religion. And I think that those topics, even though they're kind of uncomfortable to talk about, are some of the biggest things that we should be talking about. What do you believe? Do you believe nothing? I mean, that's just as important as believing in something. I guess I'm sitting before you now, saying I haven't figured it out. I'm still writing music, just like I'm still trying to figure out those big questions. I will say that as I've come around, become a little bit more of an adult, a little bit more, I realized there was something to what my parents were teaching me that I think I want to take with me, and I want to believe in as well. And you kind of learn that your parents are right a lot. I don't know, there's a lot of combinations of parents and and kids in here. But my parents had such a great intuition. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. Like who my friends were, like, you should probably not talk to him. I'm like, you're wrong, he's cool, he's fine. And then you realize they were right, he was an idiot. And there's just so many aspects of that time when I first started writing music where I felt like I was right and they were wrong, and then slowly realizing there were some aspects that they definitely were wrong, and then aspects that they were right. And yeah, I don't know, I could talk forever about that, but yeah, faith and Christianity and the way that I was raised and belief in God and what happens after life, I mean, those are all things that you will find in my music. And I don't think that I'll ever get to a point where I'll say, hey, I figured it out. You guys come and try this. This is it. But I at least don't want to be too afraid to tell you that I'm trying to figure it out. And that's what music has been for me lyrically, is a place to have an outlet for those questions.
All right, thank you guys very much. Thank you guys very much. Give it up for 21 Pilots. Thank you guys for taking out the time. It was amazing. You had great questions too. Great questions. I think we're going to get ready to go take our photos. If you guys want to stay seated, we'll get ready to bring you this way.